2 years ago, I posted my plan for getting big arms. At the time, they were 16 inches. After following that routine, my arms now measure 18 inches, and that's cold without a pump. I'm very happy with that progress. This video is for the guys who want their guns to be hugging the sleeves and are sick and tired of having twigs. I'll show you exactly what it took for me to get to 18 inches. My arm days, my progress, programming, even some strength standards. But first, I must press on you the importance of having big arms. The majority of lifters don't realize the importance of big arms. Only the pure noobs and seasoned veterans. Your shoulders and back make up the majority of your frame and are probably most important for your physique. But there's something about big arms that just looks so freaking good. Slightly overdeveloped arms make you look like a video game character. You just look goofy, like SpongeBob from that one episode. One of the best feelings in the world is trying on new clothes and barely being able to put your arms through the sleeves. And if you want to look good for girls, big arms are never a downside, trust me. To grow them optimally, you can't just follow your typical upper-lower. Some half-ass curls at the end of your workout isn't going to cut it. You need to become somewhat of an arm specialist. Compound movements are important, but they're not going to get you the results you want. If you want big calves, train your calves. If you want a bigger neck, train your neck. Arms are no different. Isolate them hard. Big arms are a better investment than the S&P 500. The natural standards are so low. The spider physique is all too common in the modern lifting era. If you want to break free from the chains of small arm society, I'm going to show you how I've done it. Believe it or not, it starts with doing This was the key difference I made, and it's what catapulted my arms from good to great. Paulo, arm days are suboptimal. Why would you spend an entire workout doing isolations? If you had a look at my program, it's not like I just added an arm day out of thin air. I have the skeleton of a 4-day upper-lower. All I did was take out the isolations and create 2 more days of training. So I go lower, upper, arm day, repeat, and rest. My volume isn't that much higher than your basic upper-lower. I didn't just mindlessly add a bunch of exercises. Everything is in there for a purpose. There are 2 reasons why arm days made such a big difference. Firstly, it allowed me to train bis and tris at the beginning of a session. This is something you don't realize is a big deal until you actually try it, because fatigue accumulates throughout the workout. So if I hit my barbell rows, cable rows, pull-ups, by the time I get around to biceps, I'm tired. Because of that, most lifters don't give their arms the focus they deserve. They'll just head to the dumbbells, do a couple sets of 12, and then wonder why their biceps are lagging. When you put arms at the beginning, you come in fresh, you come in focused. Not only that, it mentally switches how you approach the exercise. If it's the first lift of the day, you're going to take it more serious, and as a result, you'll grow more. Arm training goes from this little accessory you do at the end to something important that you track, like your squat or your bench. Going all in on isolations was the second reason I grew. Pull-ups, rows, and presses will grow your arms, but minimalist training leads to minimalist results. I don't want just decent arms. I want guns so big I'm no longer allowed in government buildings. There ain't gonna be no close grip bench or chin-ups on my arm day. It's gonna be curl, extension, curl, extension. I want laser-focused stimulus on my bis and tris, so they have no reason but to grow. Chest, shoulders, and back respond well to compound movements, but your limb muscles will usually be lacking. Biceps, triceps, forearms, calves, neck, these all grow better when they're isolated. Some people can get huge arms with just compound movements, but they are the exception, not the rule. And sure, they might have big arms, but will they have their best arms? Absolutely not. Do not give your arms any excuse. I want you to sit there one-on-one with your bicep. I command you to grow. Having a specialized day can give you great results even for other body parts. If your calves are lacking, have a calf day where you go balls to the wall. If your forearms are lacking, do the same. Is it any surprise that arm wrestlers have massive forearms?
All right, and if I don't have the proper increments, how am I gonna get better? It's called progressive overload.
It's not enough to just have an arm day. It's how you implement it that matters. The more effort and focus you put into it, the more you will grow. Why not treat curls as a competition lift? Why not get hyped and push your triceps hard? You don't need to run the same cookie cutter program as everyone else. If you want goofy CT Fletcher looking arms, step into the gym with a beat the books mentality. Don't treat your arm training as an accessory. Treat it with respect. That's what made a dramatic difference for me. Every time you train, try to beat the numbers you got from last week, by reps or by weight. You can use regular double progression, dynamic double progression. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go over how much strength I gained since this video to give you an idea of realistic progression. All these lifts have been staples in my program. Incline dumbbell curls. I did 50 pounds for 8 in March 2023 and built up to 57.5 for 8 in November 2024. To add only 7 pounds in a year and a half doesn't seem like a lot, but remember, your biceps and triceps are very small. They aren't like your legs, chest, or back. The strength potential is much lower. A 7-pound increase is 15%, equivalent to taking your bench from 300 to 345. The numbers scale down when you're using less weight. One of the best purchases I made were these 1.25 pound microplates. They allowed me to progress my dumbbell curls nice and slow. Easy bar curls are a staple in my program. They started at 90 pounds for 8 and got to 115 for 9 reps. I pride myself on keeping them as strict as possible. There is a little bit of lean towards the top, but that's inevitable as you go heavier. For triceps, you guys know I love my overhead extensions. They're good for getting that sweep on the back of your arm. Using an easy curl bar, I did 90 pounds for 12 reps in December 2023 and got to 102.5 for 10 in December 2024. With the dual pulleys, I started at 80 pounds and just recently did 97.5 for 9 reps. And for the seated tricep pushdown, I began at 90 pounds for 14 and built up to 105 for 15 1 year later. As you can see, this wasn't super dramatic progress, but it's what you can expect as an intermediate natural who takes arm training seriously. Now let's have a look at my measurements. On the x-axis, I plotted my weight, and on the y-axis, the measurements of my right arm. My last bulk is in blue, and this most recent bulk is in red. One of my regrets is that I didn't measure my arms more often. I know some people like to do it every week. I measured them once every few months. I will truly know how much I've grown once I get lean. When I get back to the 190s, I expect my arms to measure somewhere around 17 inches. I would be really happy. That's serious growth. As you bulk and cut, you'll want to compare measurements at similar body weights. That's the true way of knowing if you're actually gaining muscle. Any idiot can just eat their way to big arms. Fat steps might increase the measurement on the tape, but it doesn't mean you're actually building muscle. I've never been at 210 or 220 before, so I have nothing to compare these measurements to. But next time I get there, I expect my arms to be 18.5 inches or even close to 19. That would be insane. If your arms measure less than 16 inches, you can add an arm day, but I think switching your mindset would be enough. Here's what worked for me. Reduce the bloat in your program. Go from 3 bicep exercises per workout to just 1. The lift you choose doesn't really matter. Secondly, I want you to kill yourself in training. If the bar doesn't start slowing down, you're going too easy. This alone will do wonders for your growth. No arm day required. If you're going to do an arm day, you have the option of doing 1 or 2 of them per week. If you're going with 1, make sure you're still training them on your first upper workout. It's always good to aim for twice a week frequency. If you run push-pull legs, it's impossible to add an arm day unless you want to train 7 days a week. But we can make a compromise. Train biceps at the end of your push day and triceps at the end of your pull day. This ensures that they're still fresh even though you're at the end of your workout. If you're going with 2 arm days per week, which is what I did, I would structure a bicep-focused workout and a tricep-focused one. Both days you're doing 3 exercises, but the order is reversed. To save time, superset the first 2 lifts together and superset the third one with whatever comes after, as long as it doesn't interfere. After the arms, train any muscles that aren't really stimulated in the rest of the week. All of these are great options, just make sure you're pushing them hard. If you want to do compound movements like close grip bench or chin-ups, that's what the other days are for. Keep arm days as mostly isolations. Start with high intensity, low volume, and slowly increase the sets over time. You want to make sure your volume is quality before you add more. Starting with junk volume and then increasing it isn't really going to do anything for you. It's better to keep your volume low but intense. I begin a training cycle with only 2 sets per exercise. Over 8 to 12 weeks, I add a set here, add a set there. By the time you take that deload, you should be anywhere from 9 to around 14 sets per week. But your focus shouldn't be on adding sets. It should be on increasing your performance. In the beginning, I experimented with cheat reps and intensity techniques, but I've slowly moved away from that. Not that it doesn't work, I just like doing regular straight sets without anything fancy. In 2 years of training, the only issue I ever ran into was some golfer's elbow, and the solution was to switch up my exercises. I had incline curls in my program for 2 years. As soon as I switched it out, my tendonitis got better. So don't be hard-headed like me. Every few months, switch up your exercises. This prevents injury and gets you more gains in the long run.
Curl. Come on.
It wouldn't be a complete video if I didn't lay out some guidelines. These are intermediate standards that will get you anywhere from 15 to 17-inch arms, provided you're gaining a little bit of weight every month. Increasing arm strength is a slow process, and it might take you years to work up to these numbers, and that's okay. Keep in mind, all these standards are for 3 sets of 10. Standing barbell overhead extension, 70 pounds. I've never really done them seated. I heard it's easier, but I've always just done them standing. Skull crushers, 80 pounds for 3 sets of 10. And this is a strict version, which goes to your forehead and back, not the pullover style where you go behind your head. Tricep pushdowns with the bar. If you're using a cable station that has 2 pulleys, those are really easy, so you should work up to the whole stack. If you're on a station with only 1 pulley, I'd say 70 pounds is a good weight to shoot for, 3 sets of 10. Keep in mind, these are strict reps. Incline curls, 30 pounds per hand, and that's at a moderate incline, let's say 30 degrees. And for easy bar curls, you should work up to 90 pounds total. And these are strict reps, no leg drive, but you can lean back slightly at the top. These are good numbers to shoot for on what I consider to be foundational arm exercises. If you've reached these numbers and your arms are below 15 inches, I would tell you to double check your forearm and make sure you're gaining some motherfucking weight. Keep in mind, you're going to be stronger on a dedicated arm day because you're fresh. If you train arms at the end of your workout, the standards are going to be a little bit lower. Since I've started my cut, I've gone back to training my arms at the end of my workouts. I've decreased the weight about 5%, and I'm slowly building up to my previous strength. I can see a big difference in my level of focus. Training triceps at the beginning of a workout is way different from training triceps after push press and incline bench. Nowadays, I have to lock in a lot more. If you actually want to see my arm day in action, click this video over here.